Hi, good morning. We're here with Nicky West from New Options, is that right?
Yeah, sure.
Um, and yeah, if you'd just like to kick off by telling us a little bit about who you are, what you do, yeah, some information about your business and how long you've been doing it for, please.
Yeah, sure. So I'm the founder of New Options. We're an independent speech and language therapy company. We deliver training into schools and we provide therapy and support for families in and around Hull and East Riding. We work with children who are 3 to 18. And I originally, once I qualified about 15 years ago now, I originally started in the NHS and then set up independently about 9 years ago now. So time flies when you're having fun, they say, don't you? But it doesn't feel like it's been 9 years at all.
Yeah. That's 9 years is a long time in business. So well done for getting this far so far.
I always did that thing of like, we just need to get through the first year, and then you look and be like, oh, then they say there's 3 years you need to get through. So we're hoping at 3, now that we've done most of the main stumbling blocks, that we've survived 9 years, that we're going strong now.
You've got a good foundation. Fantastic. So that obviously covered the pandemic. What was the kind of biggest impact of that for you over the last 2 or 3 years?
Well, the main initial thing was huge because obviously we deliver our therapy by going into schools, and overnight it's like nobody can't go into schools. So it was sitting down very quickly and thinking, how can we deliver this? With our mission has always been, we want to be able to support these families, we want to be able to get into schools, we want to reduce this inequality to the service and provide regular input. And then had it gone, but actually I can say it looking back now that it actually worked in our favour, which obviously when you heard that schools were closing, that wasn't my immediate reaction. But we really pivoted things round, and we're big believers that for therapy to be able to work, that we believe in like holistic approach. So we've got the child in the centre, and ideally we've got these 3 strands that go around, where we've got the parents who are the experts of the child, we've got the education sector that are there to be able to provide their input, and then there's us. And actually then being able to, we provided home therapy packs, so we did paper-based activities with resources that were printed off. Me and my team, we were busy printing those. We went round and delivered them off to people's homes. And what we found being able to do that, we delivered Zoom sessions. So if parents needed extra support, they were able to do that, because a lot of our families either hadn't got access to a lot of technology, or if they had, they got more than one child. So that computer screen was being taken for another child. So by being able to do the intervention the way that we did, it actually booked the national trend. And so the kids on our caseload maintained or developed their skills. We didn't have this massive drop. So it was lovely that we've been saying, this is what we need. And then actually when we were able to show what was happening, that schools and families could see the effects of that 360 input. So it went really well. But I think that we haven't really seen the longer impact of COVID yet for our business and the way that we do things. We had those children that were on our caseload, but then there were families then that through lockdown couldn't access the health visitors, so didn't have that early signposting at 2 years old saying, we need to do this. Parents couldn't access any groups. And now we've even got like the bigger travesty now, where we've got this, like with the cost of living increase, families then who might have then now been able to start going out to groups and having all of that early intervention, they're either having to work or haven't got extra money to be able to go out. So I think the impact for us, it's going to, I think we're just at the start of it really, but I think that we've shown now we've got a really good model that can reduce that inequity. We can make positive impacts. So I'm hoping that, that it's a massive travesty against children in education and educators and families, but I think we can show how we can support them, and we can give these children these life chances again.
A positive sort of outcome, hopefully, from it. So is that something that obviously you're going to look to maintain as you go forward? That kind of new spin on delivering your product and service.
Yeah, definitely. We traditionally we were just commissioned by schools, and that's the way that I worked and the business worked. But then we would often have families contacting us that weren't on our caseload saying, I'm really desperate and my child isn't using any vocabulary, or they're stammering, or they're selective mute. What can you do to help me? So we've since developed this extra strand where we do commission work through schools, but then we also have one-to-one home visits and community work now with parents, just buying this in independently, which originally we didn't do.
Oh, that's good. It's good to hear in terms of a sort of positive impact of the pandemic. So from obviously the pandemic there, what does the future look like now for you, and what are the main challenges you see going forward, that fingers crossed we're kind of through the worst of it?
I think one of the main things is that it's been recognised and it's been highlighted more that children do have speech and language needs, and the impacts that can have on social skills and emotional behaviour and general like physical behaviour difficulties that some children can have, and that underpinning, as well as the impact on literacy. And I think as a company, our main challenges are that, we had this mission that, we wanted to reduce that inequity, and we wanted to be able to empower parents and families to be able to support them. And now obviously there's been this boom of additional children now. There's always been a little bit of an increase every year, and I think for us it's trying to keep up with the growth that's there, with the ideas that we've got for the support, and trying to get that out, not just in the schools that we work in, but in that wider community and into the region, and into the UK, and educating people on how we were able to support them. And with really little things, without many resources, you don't need any specialist resources, how you can make a huge impact on children's lives. So I think it's trying to keep up with that for us.
Getting the messaging out there, and the ability to communicate what is available and the benefits of that. Cool. Thank you. So just kind of moving on to you as a business owner then, over the last nine years, what's the biggest learning that you've had, if you can decide on one?
I think the biggest thing for me was acknowledging that I was a business owner. And I think for me it's only been the last year, 18 months, that has occurred to me, because I started off very small. I just had one school, and I was a speech and language therapist, and that was who I was and what I did. And then it had grown, and I think I had to have a real mental shift from I'm a speech and language therapist to no, actually I'm a founder of a company, and I am a speech and language therapist. But actually it was like swapping them over. So it was going from having the speech and language therapists in bold caps, and then also I set up a business, and flipping those around. And since I've been able to do that, we have seen like a massive growth in the business. But I think it's a really hard thing to do, and sometimes you're like, oh, I've got a business, and you don't realize it and take for granted. And loads of people in speech and language therapy, there have been so many people who've had these businesses, who've set them up and are then retired, and then that's it. And they haven't seen, but you've got a business, and you could sell that on, or you could stay on, and you could do like mentoring in that business. And whether it's a speech and language therapy thing or I don't know, but definitely that shift of I am a business owner, and we have got a business.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. So just if we were to go back in time, another question, meeting yourself at 18, Nicky at 18, what would be the best piece of advice you could give to Nicky at 18?
I think it would be to give myself time, and to know that all of the things that I was doing were all little pieces that were going to make up the one big jigsaw. So when I was younger, I used to do loads of care work and work in respite units. I did lots of voluntary work with people with learning disabilities and elderly. I did a graphic design degree. I went and worked for my mum and dad's business. for a while, and then all of those things had then slot into place. So I then had a really good understanding of service users, of the clients, the difficulties and the issues that they face, as well as the challenges and the celebrations. With the graphic side of things, I can make my own resources now. So we're able to develop stuff and turn stuff around really quickly. And then I had that business side from a mum and dad of knowing that, you know, you don't just turn up for work. It is long hours, and you don't do that one job, you're doing that. And then you start off doing your social media and your business and your banking and the bookkeeping and pushing your business. But then knowing eventually all of those bits that I learned would come together to help me to form the business.
Fantastic. Good piece of advice that keep on going and it'll fall into place for you.
Eventually. It'd be nice if it's a bit earlier, but I think when you go through those like wilderness years where you know what you don't want to do, but you haven't found what it is that you want to do, it can be so difficult. But I think the biggest advice that I was given was like, find what you're doing for free that you enjoy, and then try and find a job in that way you get paid. Because if you're doing it for free, you clearly have a passion for it. And for me, that was like, oh, I've always done like this kind of like support work. And so I was looking for something that was in between caring and education, and then stumbled on speech therapy.
Sure. Trust the process and do what you enjoy. I've read that many times recently, and it is a good piece of advice. As you say, if you're doing it for free, then if you can get a job doing it, then happy days. Or a business doing it, even better. Fantastic. So what inspires you currently is it could be friends, family, could be a piece of advice you're reading or books or anything like that.
Without sounding too cheesy, it is the kids that we work with. You know, when I know the power of what I do, and that, you know, the I can help to unlock families to be able to like support their kids and work with the kids, but other people, they don't always see it or don't see the impacts. You know, when I'm able to see a child, I worked with a child recently, and he came on the call, he couldn't say his own name. And he was 5 and couldn't say his own name. He couldn't say his sibling's name. And by the end of the session that I had with him, he was able to do it. And seeing that, I mean, I get very emotional about it, because I just think, you know, imagine not being able to say your own name, and then by the end of it, they can do it, and they can answer the register, they can say, like, respond in the class, and you see that confidence. And, you know, to be able to see how hard the kids that we work with, you know, they just keep going, and then they're able to achieve these amazing things. And little lad that we worked with recently, he was like, but now, you know, my teachers couldn't understand me, and it was stopping me from learning properly, and now I can have a really good job because I can talk. And seeing these kids, when you like open them up, it's not just what they can say, it's also just their confidence that you see as well. And I think, now how can you not be inspired by that? I love
Definitely.
it.
Yes.
Love it.
I'm getting inspired just listening to you.
Yes, we're all about recruits.
Opens up a whole new world for them.
Yeah, but I think it is, because I think it's even with
realization.
COVID, obviously I work in pediatrics, but even a lot of my counterparts who work in adults, you know, with COVID cases, there was so much of an impact on people who, like, their voice quality had gone, their breath control had gone, trying to be able to speak was really difficult, or if they've been intubated, you know, the impact that had, either just on their general speech or eating and drinking difficulties. And then you'd see stuff reported in the news, and there'd be no mention of speech and language therapists, and you'd be like, but the speech and language therapists are like at the same level as doctors and medics that are working, and yet there wasn't even mention. And you think it's so important, which obviously I will be slightly biased at anyway, but it is so important. You have, you know, if you have children with speech and language needs, if they don't have interventions at 4, it's an indication of what GCSE results they're going to be having, what they're earning at 34. You know, you can trace it all the way back.
Very important work.
I think so.
And lastly then, is there any sort of latest news around your business that you'd like to share? So, I mean, we also ask for offers, whether that's any relevant to your sort of business model, but yeah, it could be any sort of latest news or anything you'd like to share about the business that you think is relevant.
Well, through lockdown, in that kind of like lockdown mentality that you have of like, I'll do this and I can do this, forgetting that at some stage you're then going to go back to full-time work. I pledged that I would do 100 free hours of training for schools, so that, and that they can just have it as a one-off. They don't need to buy us in. It's any schools around Hull and East Riding that, and it's to be able to support staff to be able to break down speech sounds so that they can help children. So it doesn't matter what phonics program they're using within their school. If you've got a child who can't say a sound, it gives the staff really tangible, hands-on, practical strategies of saying, you know, if the child can't do this, use this strategy to be able to help them, because we knew that there would be this like massive influx of cases coming through. So, and not every school's got a huge budget to be able to buy an independent speech therapy. So that's working really well, and we have still got some sessions available. So we have spread the word, and provide extra support.
Well, that's ace. Thanks very much, Nicky. I've been really enjoying speaking to you and learning about new options, and all the best with it for the future.
Thanks ever so much.